Hello guys, welcome to Cinema Ultimate. In this video, I will show you an action movie, Spiderman No Way Home, 2021. The film is directed by Jon Watts and stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker. Spiderman No Way Home continues the story of Peter as Spider-Man, who defeated Mysterio in the previous film Spiderman Far From Home, 2019. Before he died, Mysterio revealed Spider-Man's identity and had become a major topic throughout New York City. Knowing this, Peter tries to overcome it by asking Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. However, something goes wrong, which causes dangerous enemies from other universes to start arriving. What's next? Here's a recap of the film Spider-Man No Way Home, 2021. At the beginning of the film, Peter Parker and Michelle Jones, aka MJ, are shown in downtown New York. Not long after, they saw the news broadcast by J. Jonah Jameson of the Daily Bugle. The news was obtained from Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, before he died in London. In the video, Mysterio reveals that Spider-Man will soon kill him. And he also gave information that Spider-Man's identity was Peter Parker. The report grew with speculation and accusations from the Daily Bugle media. Everyone believed the news and hated Spider-Man for being a murderer. Before things got any worse, Peter rescued MJ from the downtown crowd. Peter takes MJ to Aunt May's apartment. Arriving at the apartment, it turns out that Happy is arguing with Aunt May. Peter tries to keep Happy and Aunt May from finding out the news about him. However, the news has spread everywhere, plus the media and the police are already around the apartment. After that, federal agents from the Department of Damage Control, DODC, arrive and arrest Peter in the night. Not long after that, the DOD also detained MJ, Ned, and Aunt May for separate interrogation. The next day, Peter's lawyer, Matt Murdock, comes to Aunt May's apartment and gives the good news that DOD is not strong enough to hold Peter. However, people still regard Spider-Man as a public enemy. Therefore, they decided to move to Happy's house for a while. The next day Peter returns to Midtown School with MJ and Ned. There were already many reporters who wanted to cover Peter. But they tried to stay calm about it. The scene switches when Peter and MJ talk on top of their school building. And then Ned came and talked about their plans after graduating from school. It turns out that they both desire to enter the MIT college. Long story short, they got a graduation letter from MIT. They hope to graduate from MIT college. However, it turned out that the three of them were not accepted at MIT due to the recent Peter controversy. It had a significant impact on MJ and Ned as close friends of Peter. Instantly they became sad, and Peter couldn't stand the sight. Then Peter accidentally sees a wizard doll nearby, reminding him of Doctor Strange. After that, Peter also met with Doctor Strange, a great magician. Peter tells the reason he met Doctor Strange. Then he asked Doctor Strange to cast a magic spell to turn back time when Spider-Man's identity had not been revealed to the public. He felt that the problems he was currently facing were causing trouble for the people he knew. However, Doctor Strange can't help Peter because he doesn't have the time stone anymore. But Wong, who was nearby, said that Doctor Strange learns a spell without going back in time. The trick is to forget everyone's memories, including Aunt May and Peter's friends. They would forget about Peter as Spider-Man once and for all. Peter reluctantly agreed. Then Doctor Strange is ready to perform a spell ritual with his magic box. However, Peter tries to change his spell so Aunt May and her friends can still remember Peter. Unbeknownst to him, doing so would damage the spell's parameters, which would open the gates of another universe. Quickly Doctor Strange immediately closed the spell. Doctor Strange was furious at what Peter had just done because it was dangerous. He also told Peter to solve the problem himself. And then Peter came home. Shortly after, Peter contacted Flash to inquire about the whereabouts of the MIT Vice Chancellor. Then he met with the Vice Chancellor of MIT before leaving for the airport. He tries to talk to the Vice Chancellor of MIT so that MJ and Ned can get into MIT college because they have nothing to do with Peter's problem. At the same time, Dr. Otto Octavius suddenly appeared. He is an old enemy version of Spider-Man, Toby. Peter tries to save the Vice Chancellor of MIT and the people around him. They fight until Peter is quite difficult to face Dr. Octavius. Peter's nanotechnology tools were also absorbed by Dr. Octavius's tentacles. It made his tentacles stronger. However, Dr. Octavius was surprised because it turned out that Spider-Man was not the Peter Parker he knew. Then nanotechnology is transferred to Peter's body so that Peter can take over and control Dr. Octavius' tentacles with just his hands. And when their fight was over, Peter helped the MIT Vice-Chancellor out of the car so that the MIT Vice-Chancellor rethought accepting them at MIT. After that came the Green Goblin, an old enemy of the Spider-Man, Toby. When he was about to attack Peter, Peter was suddenly pulled by Doctor Strange to another dimension. There Peter met the Lizard, who was an enemy of Spider-Man, Andrew. Then Doctor Strange tells Peter that they all came as a result of Peter's mistake, who changed his spell so that the gates of another universe opened. Anyone who knows Peter as Spider-Man will come from another universe. This can cause tremendous chaos. Then Doctor Strange explains to Peter how to fix things. Peter must gather his other enemies so that later they can be returned to their respective universes. Then Doctor Strange asked MJ and Ned to help him. They were ready to do it in the basement. Moments later, Ned gets information about the whereabouts of another of Spider-Man's enemies. Peter immediately went to that location. And then, he finds Electro, who is the enemy of Spider-Man, Andrew. Electro is charging electricity into his body from an electric tower. Then Peter tried to catch him until they even fought. Suddenly, Flint Marko, aka Sandman, appears in their fight, who is an old enemy of the Spider-Man, Toby. He helps Peter fight Electro. When the fight is over, Peter explains that he is not Peter from their universe, and they came here due to his fault. Finally, Peter managed to take them both and keep them in Doctor Strange's magical place. After that, Peter receives a call from Aunt May, who finds Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin. And then Peter immediately met him. After speaking, Peter took him to the same place where his other enemies were being held. Then came Doctor Strange, prepared to perform a spell ritual with his magic box. He plans to immediately return them to their respective universes. However, Sandman said that if they were returned to their respective universes, Dr. Octavius and Norman Osborn would be dead. Hearing this, Peter disagreed that Doctor Strange would bring them back. But Doctor Strange said that it was their destiny. Peter disagreed and thwarted Doctor Strange's plan. He forcibly took Doctor Strange's magic box and took it away. Doctor Strange tries to chase after him and uses his magical powers. A fight ensued between them. Doctor Strange tries to take his magic box back from Peter until Peter's spirit leaves his body. However, Peter managed to re-enter his body and defeat Doctor Strange. And then Doctor Strange again pursues Peter with his mirror dimension spell, which puts Peter in trouble. Peter tried to explain that Doctor Strange could give them a second chance to live in their universes. Peter assures him that he can help them. Then the mirror spell breaks, and Peter binds Doctor Strange there. Meanwhile, Peter left with the magic box and Doctor Strange's ring. After that, Peter returned and intended to help them. He gives them a second chance to keep them alive when they return to their respective universes. They agreed with Peter's plan. Then Peter took them to Happy's apartment. Meanwhile, Peter gives the ring and magic box to Ned and MJ. Arriving at Happy's apartment, Peter began researching with Happy's various advanced technology tools. Then he made a serum to repair them. The serum was ready to be put into their bodies. Dr. Octavius was the first to test it, and it worked. Electro then followed him. However, suddenly Peter felt a strange premonition, which turned out to be Norman Osborn has a dark side that did not agree with Peter's plan. He tried to attack Peter because he thought what had happened was a godsend. He became the Green Goblin and immediately attacked Peter until a fight broke out between them. Some of them were influenced by Osborn's words, and they left from there. Meanwhile, Peter is having a hard time dealing with Osborn. Aunt May, who saw Peter, immediately injected the serum into Osborn. However, it turned out that the serum did not react and actually made Osborn very angry. Instantly his gun hit Aunt May and then blew up the place. Peter tried to help Aunt May, but it turned out that Aunt May was seriously injured and eventually died. Peter was unfortunate to see him. Then Happy, who was about to come there, immediately ordered Peter to hurry away because the police had surrounded him. After the incident, Peter went alone and blamed himself. Meanwhile, MJ and Ned learned that Aunt May is dead. Then Ned accidentally opened another dimension portal using Doctor Strange's ring. There Ned and MJ plan to meet a grieving Peter. However, Ned opens a portal to another universe dimension, which turns out to be Peter, Andrew, who came to their place. Instantly MJ and Ned felt confused because the man they met claimed to be Peter Parker, who is also Spider-Man. Peter, Andrew, convinces them that he is Spider-Man. Ned repeated the spell to find Peter. But then again, what comes as another Spider-Man, Peter, Toby. Ned and MJ were getting confused by them. Then Ned and MJ find out that there are two other Spider-Mans from different universes. Long story short, they found the whereabouts of Peter, who was alone with grief over the death of Aunt May. There Peter, Andrew, and Toby, also expressed their condolences for the death of Aunt May. But Peter doesn't know that there is another Spider-Man from a different universe. They explained it until the three of them finally agreed to make a new plan. They make a serum that can heal their enemies from their dark side. Then Peter did a live broadcast through the Daily Bugle media, which announced the location of Peter's whereabouts at that time. They planned to lure their enemies three. With the healing serum they made, they were ready for action. Not long after, Electro appeared with his electric power. He starts attacking Peter by aiming for his magic box. Then came the Lizard and Sandman, who also attacked the three Spider-Mans. They tried to destroy the magic box. The three Spider-Mans had a hard time dealing with them. But with various plans, finally, Toby, managed to put the serum into Sandman's body so that he could recover and become an ordinary human. Meanwhile, Andrew, also managed to put the serum into the Lizard's body until he returned to being Dr. Kurt Connors. In contrast to Electro, who was challenging to fight with him. And suddenly, Dr. Octavius came and helped Spider-Man put the serum into Electro's body until he returned to being an ordinary human. They have returned to normal humans without any power. Then Doctor Strange came to retrieve his ring and magic box. He was impressed with Peter, who managed to heal his enemies. However, suddenly the Green Goblin came and immediately attacked them. He took and tried to destroy Doctor Strange's magic box. Peter, who saw it, quickly took it back, but it turned out that the magic box had been loaded with a bomb which caused the magic box to explode. Doctor Strange tried to hold back the spell that came out because it would open the gates of another universe. Meanwhile, due to the explosion, MJ almost fell from the height of the Statue of Liberty. Peter tried to help her but failed. Quickly Andrew, immediately helped her and succeeded. Instantly he remembered his lover, who he did not have time to help. On the other hand, Peter tried to fight the Green Goblin with his strength. And when Peter had a chance to kill the Green Goblin, Toby immediately stopped him. He didn't want Peter to kill him. But suddenly, the Green Goblin stabbed Toby, in the back. Andrew, who saw the incident, immediately threw the serum at Peter and injected it into the Green Goblin. Then the serum managed to restore Norman Osborn from his dark side. Meanwhile, Toby, is still conscious, and Andrew, immediately helps him. On the other hand, Doctor Strange tries to close the gates to another universe that has begun to open due to his shattered magic box. Doctor Strange tells Peter he can't handle it anymore. Then Peter came up with an idea with a magic spell that would forget him. Doctor Strange convinces Peter of his wish because, in the future, many people will forget Peter, including MJ and Ned. Having no other choice, Peter agreed. Before parting ways, Peter thanks Toby, and Andrew, because they have helped him. Likewise, with MJ and Ned, Peter explains that there is a way that can save the world from the threat caused by the open gates of other universes. He reveals that soon they will both forget Peter once and for all. Hearing this, MJ and Ned felt very sad. But Peter owed it that he would go to them and tell them all that had happened when it was all over. And then they were ready to part. Doctor Strange then casts his magic spell, and instantly everything is gone. At the end of the film, there's a live newscast from the Daily Bugle, which reports that they don't know Spider-Man's identity yet. That means Doctor Strange's spell worked. Then Peter comes to meet MJ and Ned at MJ's work. They didn't seem to recognize him anymore. He learns that MJ and Ned have been accepted into MIT College. And then he left from there. After that, Peter visits Aunt May's grave. There he meets Happy, who doesn't know Peter either. In the end, Peter had to live his own life as Spider-Man without anyone knowing it. And the movie is over. Okay guys. If you like our channel, support us with subscribe and turn on the bell, like, comment, and share. So that you don't miss our next video and our channel can grow even more. See you guys.